Prior to seeing The Force Awakens, I had only seen A New Hope and a bit of Empire Strikes Back. It wasn't that I'd purposely avoided seeing the Star Wars movies or anything like that. It's just, you know, it was kind of one of those things that I thought, oh, I'll just get round to, and then I just didn't, and blah. And when The Force Awakens came out, I thought I did want to go and see it, so I thought I'll watch them all now, and then I'll go and see it, but then I just kept putting it off and didn't get round to it. And then I thought, do you know what? I'll go see it anyway, because maybe the perspective of a near complete noob will be interesting, because I don't have all that prejudice of being a fan of the original series, so I can just judge this movie based on merit alone. So after last night, which was when I saw it, I can hands down say that this was the most enjoyable movie I have seen in a long time. I say most enjoyable instead of best, because like what makes a good movie like can mean whether it's most enjoyable or whether it's technically good or whatever, but I mean for personally me, like I was loving every minute of this. About halfway through I swallowed some spit down the wrong hole and started having a coughing fit, and I was like, I either have to cough really loudly to get this up or choke to death. So I went out because I didn't want to spoil it for everybody, but like seriously I was like, come on, cough it up, I have to get back in. I can't believe I just shared that with you, but no, that was how much I was enjoying it. I desperately wanted to get in. I was considering choking to death. I would have died happy. So let's get to the individual nitty gritty. I have my notes because that's what y'all want to hear about, I assume. If you care what I have to say, which I assume you do, otherwise why would you be here? Even though I am not a fan of the original series, I think that Star Wars is so ingrained in our culture now that you can feel like a sort of nostalgia for it even though you're not like into it that much. Because when it started and like the words started scrolling back and the theme was playing, I got goosebumps all over. Same thing happened when Finn lit up Luke's lightsaber. It was just like zhund, and I was like so maybe that was just novelty, but I thought that that was an important part of the Star Wars viewing experience. I'm going to focus on the new characters more than anything, because obviously I do know some stuff about the old ones, but you know, I'm experiencing the new ones for the first time like the same as everybody, so I can probably give the most like legitimate opinions on those. So oh, Finn and Poe, how cute were they? Just instant besties, like, and that was the best thing ever, because there was no kind of like restraint that you normally see. They were just, yeah man, bromance. That is what Lizzie likes to see. I liked how deep and individual these characters were. They were well developed, fully fledged. Rey in particular, I just thought she was quite funny, and you know, that was just cool, but not like overdone. Like she wasn't like trying to be funny. It was just like part of who she was, like part of her personality. This movie just looked gorgeous. It was like all weird and wonderful space stuff, which I can dig. The old cast I was still very impressed with, like Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, they were great. Carrie didn't have as much screen time as I would have liked, because from what I have seen of Star Wars, like in A New Hope, and that Leia was my favourite character. I really liked her. But I guess she wasn't that integral to the plot, so that was okay, that's fine. She and Harrison Ford still have that chemistry. That's the thing, I might not have noticed this if my friend who had seen it before me hadn't mentioned it earlier, but their dialogue felt kind of cliched and just lazily written, but they acted it well. They did the best with what they were given, and they still had that kind of connection that they had originally in A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. So I don't consider that a problem that I have with this movie. I only have two problems, really, that I guess only really count as half problems in a way. The first was that Rey like had the Force out of nowhere. But like, can that happen? If it can, like tell me, because I don't know. But it just seemed a little convenient that she could just like master it like exactly when she needed to. But in spite of that, it's not like she was Mary Sue or anything, because she was shown to be flawed in other respects. So, you know, it's okay, whatever. You know, like a little bit of convenience never hurt any plot. And like my second niggle, if you will, would be to do with Kylo Ren. Now, I love Kylo, well, apart from the thing that he did that I won't say in case any of you have not seen it yet, but I'm late to the game so you probably have, but you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, no, he's great. I just think that he's not scary. I get that he is not the main big bad and that's Snoke, but let me explain myself. Okay, so for like the first 20 minutes or so, I was not really that impressed with Kylo Ren at all, and I think that's because I thought, oh, he's just a pale imitation of Darth Vader, like, you know, did they not try? But then it revealed that that's the point, and that he is trying to be like Darth Vader and like following his footsteps and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's great, great character. But the best villains, in my personal opinion, are the ones that you can sympathise with and maybe relate to a little bit, but also scare the shit out of you. I don't mean like literally, but they've got to have that kind of presence that throws you a little bit. Darth Vader had that, you know, he was like the Emperor's bitch, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but he like walked in that way that made you think, whoa, you don't want to mess with this guy. Now, I get that Kylo is not meant to be like that, and the whole point is that he's trying to be and failing miserably at this point in his arc. But since that means that Snoke is the main scary big bad of The Force Awakens, we don't get a very interesting villain. Because, like, what's relatable about giant Voldemort who's just sat... I can't feel that. That kind of villain's just bland, I guess. It would be more interesting if Kylo was a bit scarier, I guess, because like he's got more screen time. We didn't see Snoke for a good portion of the movie. Like, he was in what, one scene, maybe two? Now, arguably, there's nothing scarier than an angsty-filled teenager who is willing to spoiler, skip ahead now, kill their own dad. But, you know, I guess it's just me. It's just my personal opinion. He could have had more of a... But the thing is, I wouldn't want him to have more of a presence because that would ruin the point of his character. So I guess my complaints are just in a vicious circle. So I'm just gonna sit back and shut up. But you know, we've got more movies, so there's time for him to develop. It does make me laugh how I can see like fangirls have just like latched onto him the way they did Loki already. He's being like perceived in the way that many fangirls perceived Draco Malfoy. And I'm not knocking it at all, it's fine, you do what you want to do, I can see why you want to do that, but he's just being portrayed as this really sexy, dominating guy, and I'm just like, you kidding me? He's a loser. He's just like smashed up a control panel because he didn't get his way. I was like, come on, get it together. I think that about wraps it up for my thoughts on Star Wars, but I consider myself a fan now. Yeah, I do, because honestly, I am buzzing from this movie. Once I got back, I was just like, oh my god! This movie has cosplay potential. I'm going to be looking into that one. I could do Rey. Well, I could have done Rey with my long hair, but like, I don't have that anymore. It's growing again though, like, yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I am Teacup Dragon. Thank you for watching.